right, let's move on. And now let's get into some picks. Let's start with the game that at the beginning of the year, let's face it, not a lot of people were talking about. And yet, Big Noon Kickoff is going to be live for the second straight week in Boulder, Colorado. So if you're a Buff fan and if you're a Buff student, get out there and support Big Noon Kickoff, who is the OG of the Buffalo's pregame shows this year, because we were there first. So while game day is also going to be there, you got to go to the OG Big Noon Kickoff, who was there last week, hyping you up before anyone else was. Colorado State coming to Boulder. Now, this is a big in-state rival, but these programs could not be any more different currently. Colorado State is not a good football team, okay? They got absolutely housed in their first game. They've only played one game, granted to a very good Washington State team. I think Colorado is much closer to Washington State than they are Colorado State. So you get where this game is headed. This is going to be a night game. I think that the environment's going to be electric. Why would it be electric? Well, it's still an in-state rivalry, and it's still only the second time that this fan base has gotten to go out there and watch Deion Sanders. Last week was incredible. Now you've got both pregame shows, namely Big Noon Kickoff. That's right. You know what I'm talking about. And that stadium is going to be hyped again. Hyped again. And Colorado State's basically going with the guy that was a backup to start the year at quarterback. Now, he came in mop-up duty and played, I'm going to butcher his name, but Braden Fowler Nicolosi, I believe is how you say this youngster's name. He was not the starter against Washington State. That was Clay Millen, who went out of the game with a shoulder injury. And now while Clay Millen is healthy, it was Nicolosi who was the one that scored a few times at the end of the game. So now they're going to go with Nicolosi. Okay, so hold on. Let's back up for a moment. What did we just learn right now? Well, Colorado State's only played one game. Colorado is probably closer to or even better than Washington State than they are closer to Colorado State. You see where I'm going with this. Colorado State doesn't have the speed to match up with the Buffs on the outside. The Buffs defense played much better, although I will say they can't bank on the fact that the quarterback is just going to drop 3 snaps, right? Like, that's probably not going to happen. Shedeur Sanders leads the country in passing, over 450 yards per game. They've got to clean up their offensive line play, certainly, at Colorado. But do we really think that Colorado State is as good on the defensive front as Nebraska was? Probably not. Probably not. So those 8 sacks should go away, and you got to think that Deion and his staff are going to be harping on the protection issue, and even Shedeur's part of that, not holding the football too long. They had Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn, Dylan Edwards, and Xavier Weaver all go off in their first game against TCU. And then Xavier Weaver, who was the one that was the most unheralded of the 4 after the first week, he goes off in week 2. 10 catches, 170 yards, and a touchdown. And as Gus affectionately nicknamed him, the X-Man was going crazy on the outside. Travis Hunter, he played 136 snaps per game so far this season. He's the most dominant player on either side of the ball for Colorado. I expect a big night offensively for these Buffs. They're going to get after it. High tempo. The spread's 22.5. Colorado's winning by more than 22.5. I mean, they are not pleased with the way that they played against Nebraska. Trust me when I tell you that. This was not a very good performance. They won going away. They felt like they should have beat Nebraska after that game 45-7. They didn't. Guess what? Watch out, Colorado State. 22.5 is not a big enough number. I like the Buffs big in Boulder. Thank you for watching the Joel Klatt Show YouTube channel. And if you liked this clip, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel. And you can stay up to date on all of my college football coverage.